Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.
All right, so I don't know if you're aware of him and the group Uhuru. Omali Yeshitela, who's the chairman of a black socialist group called Uhuru, he got featured on Tucker Carlson while he was still on Fox then, right? Okay. When he did
this was on the podcast. No, Tucker did a segment on him shortly before he got fired from Fox,
right,
but he didn't interview him then. He just did a segment on the fact that they were being prosecuted. And then once he got fired from Fox, one of the first guests he brought on since starting his online show was Omali.
All right, so the reason I wanted to show this to you is I don't feel like it's just black conservative voices that are silenced. It's black voices advocating for self-sufficiency, which at this point, the only kind of left that's been allowed to have a platform and a voice in the corporate media is the welfare state kind of representation of what liberalism is. But, you know, this guy, he's a throwback really to a type of black radicalism that really got destroyed by the FBI and shut out of the conversation.
Like W.E.B. Du Bois type socialist, or
he's more along those lines, really. Some of what the early Nation of Islam, Malcolm X guys were talking about, forming their own businesses, which they have done.
Yeah.
So I'll play a little clip of him for you.
They have never had to offer African people anything. When they run for office, it's not because they're offering us anything. They're frightening black people. They say, if you don't vote for us, you're going to get Trump, who is a demon, or you're going to get the Republicans, who are demons, or you're going to get what we characterize as fascism, etc. So they don't have to promise black people anything except they swear they'll protect us from the other white people. That's one aspect of it. And then there's a whole body of folk who are employed through things like welfare, slavery, and programs that they create it's a whole array of folk that employ liberals.
All right, so I'm hoping I'm going to make history here and get Greg Foreman agreeing with a black socialist.
He doesn't sound like a socialist. I wouldn't guess socialist from what he was saying there.
Well, see, but that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
Voices like that. See, you're saying that black conservative voices of self-sufficiency have been shut out. There are black left voices of self-sufficiency. They've been shut out too.
Interesting. I think you blew my mind. I think you've exposed me to maybe a more niche political ideology I wasn't familiar with in regards to the black perspective. Interesting.
All right. Very cool. My work.
But I mean, I think like, is he essentially arguing for almost like a segregationist, but detached from the welfare system type of thing going on? But yet it's more like a collectivist mindset.
I wouldn't say he's a segregationist. I mean, he seems like us. So I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think he's quite in that direction, but self-sufficient businesses. I mean, this is, you bring up Du Bois, Marcus Garvey had a similar philosophy. Like, there is a strain of that you, in many ways, and Soul and others, represent what is a black tradition that's been shut out of the conversation. But there's a left side of that tradition that's also been shut out of the conversation that Yeshitela represents, because he's managed to survive years of repressing groups with that kind of philosophy, which they just tried to do it even in the present. That's why Tucker had him on, because they were calling him a Russian agent.
Yeah, well, you proved your point, because I definitely is not very familiar with him. And again, if listening to him, I would not pick up on socialist, but I could see how it could be more of a collectivist mindset, but kind of just building up your own community type of thing, supporting black businesses and supporting each other. I think that's what here's the thing. When you talk about some of these other people that come over from other countries, immigrants come over, the Indian community, that's essentially what they do. They support each other. They shop at their own stores, and they keep the money flowing, the dollars flowing in their own community. And that's their way of kind of overcoming systemic racism and white supremacy.
Well, yeah, they talk about economic self-determination as a sort of a core tenet of their project. And, you know, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. He's for reparations, but, you know, they believe in economic self-sufficiency and economic self-determination. And I don't think that's necessarily at odds with socialism in the sense that, you know, if you build communities together, like they have in Uhuru Bakery, they built their own community basketball court. If you build in such a way where, you know, like I said, workers have an ownership stake in the fruits of their labor and the output of their labor, then I don't think that is necessarily inconsistent with socialism. But I would love for you, I mean, you know, they are available. We can put you in touch. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but like they are willing to talk to anybody. They went on Tucker Carlson, and to Tucker's credit, and you know, he has said this in the past. You know, he has said that, you know, Tucker was one of the only mainstream media voice or you know, voice with that big a microphone to actually give him a chance to tell his story, because they were being prosecuted. They basically got Russiagated, just like Trump got Russiagated. They were accused of being Russian agents and working with Russia to sow discord here in the United States. And they were found not guilty of being Russian agents, but they were found guilty of attempting to be, essentially, which is a convoluted verdict. But the judge thankfully gave them no jail time. And
this was a couple weeks ago.
No fine. Yeah.
I think what's interesting about that, I'm thinking about Nancy Pelosi accusing the pro-Palestinians of being Russian assets.
Right.
That's essentially what happens every time that you push back against the establishment. When, you know, you're not going along with their agenda, the first thing they say is that, well, you're a Russian asset. You must be a puppet of Putin. And that happens to the left and the right.
Come see us on tour in Dallas, Texas, Baltimore, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets, and only there.